Hey, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining straight from Veve at Decon. Let me know if you can hear me. It's a little bit loud. We got music. We got DJs. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear Rhys okay?
Well, hello, friends.
We're coming straight from Decon. We have Rhys. We have Noah. We have Alex. We have the whole family here. Go ahead and type in the chat if you can hear us okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Shout out Ian.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everyone. OBL, we got Rebel Duck. We got everybody in the house. Well, thank you so much. This is surreal that I'm actually, look, I can touch him. He's real.
I'm a real man.
I can touch the hair. I love it. So thank you all so much for joining in here. We're going to go through all the questions. Hopefully not all the when questions, but I'm going to go through quite a lot. I appreciate all you guys for jumping in and actually letting me know what the questions are that you want answered. And I always said one day I would be able to share a beer with Rhys in person. Cheers. And Alex is like,
cheers,
bro, where's my beer?
No beers for you, mate.
Noah's like, where's my vodka? Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh, that is good. Oh, it has been amazing to be here live, like meeting the team, meeting the OMI homies. It had to be at least like 60 so far, OMI homies, maybe 70.
At least
70 OMI homies who just showed up unannounced, like to actually be here for you guys. So this is exciting. How are you guys feeling about the event?
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, I mean, the event's been super fun. It's our second day out of 3 so far. Yesterday was VIP night. So, even then we weren't expecting that many people for VIP night, but most of the people who showed up from the community were VIPs. So it's been fun so far. I've gotten a chance to check out some of the other booths. We have a lot of partners around us too. It's been great. It's been super fun. Lots of new people checking out the app the first time too.
Love it. And it's been very hard to get drops while we're here, but I've been able to get a few. It sounds like you guys have not been able to.
Team 0 this week.
Team 0. A lot of people are like, oh, like probably the team gets their own drops, like they get free ones. And we've learned that's not the case. So they are trying just as hard as we are in striking out.
Look at these sour faces.
I was able to get the rare Just Us, the black and white one, so I'm stoked on that. But thank you, everyone, for jumping in. We're going to get to the questions here. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to TapsTrades channel. I always do content covering the Ecomi homies and Veve, and we're going to get into it today. So
absolutely.
Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First question before we get into the meat of it. Who is your favorite artist at Decon?
Oh, that's a tough question. I've really liked Tristan Eaton's stuff. Yeah. He's it's so cool to be around the content that we're dropping, and to be able to see the physical pieces. But the Mighty Jack's Eve looks amazing as well. I think for me, there's more connection and story there because we're releasing the NFT as well.
So VIP night, we got in early, and I actually, before I even came to the Veve tent or whatever, the setup, I immediately saw Tristan Eaton's setup, and I saw the black and white and all the actual OG bunnies for sale and physical, and they only had like a low edition. So I walked up, I was like, how much is that? Like $250. I was like, yep, me, I got it.
Done.
I think it was only like 50 or so. So I grabbed it early.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's sick.
I'm stoked. So awesome. So this whole weekend we're seeing 16 drops.
50,
Friday, Saturday,
15?
and Sunday.
Yeah, I think we did three yesterday, 6 today, 6 tomorrow. Yeah.
So, well, including the comic, 16, right?
The comic.
Yeah,
yes.
You had to slide that in there. So my question is that going to become the norm now on Alex's, like, no.
Can we see this face?
No, look at it. Come in closer over here.
What can we expect, Alex?
We can expect me to get some sleep after this weekend.
Look, we will definitely move towards doing more drops, right? Because it's the only way we can balance the growing user base and the demand. But no.
How are there 2 of me on screen? And real quick, we're going to show, before we continue with the questions, that the whole fam has showed up. OMI homies, say yo.
Can we zoom in on that apron
that
too,
apron,
please?
though.
Can you come on?
All right.
See you in a bit, Josh.
All right. So my one kind of like question about the fact that there are so many artists coming in is we've seen like massive fandom and everything shoot up with Frank Kozik and Jermaine Rogers, but we had a lot of downtime in between those artists. Do you guys have any worry that some of the NFTs won't climb in price, Kozik or Jermaine Rogers, all that, because they all dropped this weekend?
No. I mean, we don't release these collectibles for their value in the secondary market. You know, we're releasing these collectibles to introduce these artists to new people, introduce them to a new audience, all of those kind of things. So personally, I don't think that those things dropping earlier will affect their value. If anything, I think the pillars of Disney and Marvel are going to introduce more and more people to those artists. So yeah, long term, I think it's good for everybody.
Another thing is the edition counts on these are so low. I mean, there's many just under 1,000. You know, so I think the value will continue to rise anyway. It's not like the Disney or Marvel drops where there's potentially tens of thousands of them or anything. So a lot of drops, but very limited. So I think that'll be part of it too.
And you never know also, like this could be the first coming of some of these artists on the app, right? So like we've seen more Kozik, we've seen more Jermaine Rogers. So it's possible that we could see, you know, more of these guys coming in with like a season 2 or the next type, right? So
absolutely. And I think that those, even though they dropped earlier, I mean, they were the first appearances in digital format and those things. So that will always have that sought after element to it.
Love it. So, and I'm not sure if I'm, let me know if I'm not allowed to show this or ask about it, but for those of us who are here, we saw a bit of a leak. We saw a leaked collectible on the screen over there. And so am I allowed to show them what it is?
Yeah. It's on the reel.
Okay, so I wasn't sure, but just so you guys know, there's a big running, I guess, a loop of all the collectibles. Like it's great because it shows like Roman's showroom and like it's bringing more. Like this booth has been packed the past 2 days and it's not going to stop. So I've already spoken to a number of people who are like, what is this? Like, and I pulled out my DeLorean, put it in augmented reality, but in that loop, there is a collectible that we've not seen.
You see it there. Sneaky little guy.
And so this Monopoly guy, which I'm guessing is Ron English.
It is indeed.
All right.
Indeed. It is the Mogul Grin, it's called.
What's it called?
Mogul Grin.
Mogul Grin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, speculation, but I'm going to keep my eyes on the VeVe app and see when this thing comes. But we got a leak directly at Decon. So that was exciting to see. So my next question is, how many new users have we seen come in since Disney announcement? Do you know that?
I know the rough numbers, yeah. The rough numbers, yeah. So, I mean, I think we saw 100,000 downloads in a couple of days when we announced that. You know, it was quick. As to whether, I don't know the retention rates of those and what we've welcomed, but it's literally thousands every day are pouring into the app.
In a couple of days?
Yeah, like 48 hours. Like it was a lot.
Wow. So Disney's a good thing.
Disney has been positive.
And actually, I was actually just having some lunch and some drinks with Randy Chavez, and he said that one of his buddies actually saw that there was a Disney commercial that actually had the VeVe logo during it. And it was during like a stream of a game or something like that. So Disney is doing their own advertising separate from Ecomi and VeVe promoting it.
Yeah, and I guess to promote the whole Disney Plus celebration, you know, Disney Plus Day, of which we were a key partner. So that makes sense to me.
Wow. So when you guys ask when marketing, I think
Alex's
when marketing, Noah and Alex, I think it's been answered, especially when Disney is doing their own marketing separate from you guys, right?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And look, just on that, every article you see go out in these mainstream publications, like that's a direct result of these guys working with Rogers and Cohen, making those connections, pushing those press releases. So, I mean, that is all part of the marketing strategy.
And that's only going to scale as more and more artists come out, right? Because if you get, obviously Marvel has been like doing a lot of Twitter and all that, but Disney's actually now brought it into, I mean, commercials, right? So we're seeing a little more of that Rogers and Cohen. We're seeing a little more of the actual licensors doing their own thing. So, I mean, it seems like it's going in the right path. And I guess now, if we've seen over 100,000 in a couple of days, do you have like a rough estimate on like total users in the app now?
Dan will kill me for this, but I mean, I know there's more than 1 million downloads. I don't know what that transfers into for daily active users or monthly active users, but our retention rate is pretty incredible. So, I'd say it's pretty up there. But I think we'll wait until we've hit the 1 million monthly active users or something before we make a big deal about it.
But that's still something to celebrate in like the short term is you have over 1 million downloads.
Yeah.
So active users, like if the retention rate's solid, that goal of hitting 1 million active users by the end of the year is
it's within reach. I think it's within reach, which is just incredible.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of the some of the issues that we saw earlier in the week. So we had some initial app issues. So it was said that was like only like the third party kind of side. Does that tie into some of the growth in user base too, or was it truly only like the third party issues?
Truly only third party issues.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you guys have seen how quickly we brought things back to normal because we had to tweak some parameters, obviously, but and bring them up to speed. Yeah, that was an unfortunate event, but we made it through.
Awesome. And let me know if I'm yelling into the mic. I'm speaking a little bit louder than I just gotta calm down. I'm just a little excited. I'm fanboying really hard because I'm next to Rhys with his beautiful hair and Noah with his beautiful hair. I mean, I should let mine down just to match, right?
Join the club.
So when you guys did say back in the day that the app was able to support a few million, is that still the case today? And then are you guys scaling as more and more like revenue comes in? Or
yeah, we do have some devs now that work solely on scaling all of our platforms. So obviously there's a lot of moving parts and anything we change has to be tested and iterated against everything else. But yeah, I mean, the scaling thing is, priority number one because we want to be able to retain these users.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, and this is actually, I'm gonna quote you, Noah. So in a recent, I don't know if it was in Facebook or Discord or one of the other 47 different socials that you guys are communicating
crazy.
in, but Noah, you said all ships will be back on OMI utility, MTL, and Immutable X after Decon. Can you clarify a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, I mean, so you guys know in the community, everything, every AMA, we say #soon, when it comes to that stuff. I think, some of it was planned to be a little bit sooner, at this point, but I think with all of the Disney drops this week, Decon, all of that preparation, some of that stuff, just got a little bit delayed. So that's all I meant by that is, now the Decon's done, now that the Disney Golden Moments drops are done, all ships are going to be straight on that. Really focused on finishing all of that stuff, definitely. I think Rhys can speak a little bit more to some of that, with the timelines, but I think we'll definitely have all of that out by the end of the year, not sooner.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much summarizes things anyway. Like, obviously, once we started rolling out Disney and we did have those issues, you're not about to change the entire system by reminting somewhere else, right? So, and this weekend is the biggest drop weekend we've ever had. Same reason. Thankfully, we'll go back to a somewhat normal drop schedule after this and can start to roll out these changes.
Please go back to a normal drop schedule.
There's a big app update coming that does remove the switcher bar, integrates comics back into the store, changes the filtering and sorting options in the market so that, if you go into a comic, it'll be the comic issue. You click that, it spreads it into the 5 variant covers, and then you can find your things in the market much easier and find those edition numbers. So that should roll out this week as well, I think.
Okay, and there was a bunch of things that were said were going to be coming end of week last week, but Disney and Decon, so that's now coming this next week.
Yes,
Got it.
That app update is due to go. I've put together an article for it, so that's usually the last step. I would expect that sooner than later.
So the article's made.
The article's there. Right. The article's there.
Waiting for so a lot of people kind of feel like, I mean, it makes sense, like Veve gets the most spotlight, right? Because it drives everything. But we've heard eventually, like, OMI marketing will come and more will actually come to the token because in a way, as OMI holders, we're shareholders of the company, right? So I do want to touch a little bit on OMI and ask OMI utility, Noah, you said that the OMI utility is all ships ahead. So does this mean that the OMI utility article is coming out soon? And will it actually touch on the staking abilities anytime soon? Or
I have written that article.
That was what you wrote? Okay.
Also, there is indeed staking. There are 3 different tiers of staking with different features. There is the OMI drop lottery, similar to the Master Collector drop lottery. You'll be able to buy accessories with OMI. You'll be able to transact in the market with OMI. And we've got a few pretty fun little ways to burn more and more tokens from supply.
So we'll actually cover like some of the burns too.
Absolutely. And now I will caveat this and say, similar to the Master Collector, it's a work in progress. We want your feedback. Please don't put your house into this investment until things are finalized. That's how we like to iterate these. So yeah, bear with us on that.
That's the most dangerous thing you could say is we want your feedback, because I think we're one of the loudest communities alive.
Absolutely. But it's helped us. It's truly helped us to tailor this platform, and yeah, it's such a valuable resource for us to be able to have that dialogue. So.
And we touched on it a little bit, but on what they said before on MTL was becoming end of week last week. So can we also expect that end of this week then?
I won't confirm that because I'll get shot if I do.
I don't see Dan or David here.
Yeah. But that was the development on that work has already been done. We've been waiting on those finalized documents and just to give people perspective on that, because everyone loves to yell when MTL at us. When we started this, when the product launched 12 months ago, you could use OMI more freely in the app. So there was a cash out mechanism. But when that user base rapidly increased, any OMI that we had in the app, we would have had to sell down, or sell down for the licensors fees and cash out and all those kind of things. And then the regulatory landscape changed as well. So it's not, I think people make the mistake that we're dragging the chain on this, but to acquire an MTL usually takes 2.5 years. And we've managed to fast track that since the start of this year. So it's around the corner.
And actually one question I did have on the MTL is, and I've had a few subscribers ask this, is how many different types of currency to fiat will you be able to actually turn it into? Is it just USD or will it be pounds? Will it be
yeah, I think it's
euro?
The top 20 currencies maybe.
Okay.
I think it's it's quite a comprehensive money transmitter and their capabilities are there. So yeah, it should be into most of the large cap currencies.
Got it. Okay, and then let's see. I guess and then another question is on the MTL side. I know there's going to be different tiers. Do we have an understanding of like how many tiers there are and how that will roll out to users and how users are chosen?
So not necessarily tiers. It's more of the rollout plan. So once we send it live, it will be the team testing it in production. Then we'll roll it out to some small groups of testers. I think for a lot of that, it will be, the guys that are the most active in the app and have some large gem balances, because they're the people that we need to actually test the features. So right. It will start there and then relatively quickly should start opening up to everybody else.
Okay, so it won't be like a couple months for some users to be able to actually cash out.
It shouldn't be.
Okay, no. Got it. And then so you touched on it, like that. There's an app update coming soon.
Yes, indeed.
And with that app update, is there going to be any, I guess, focus on stronger social features, or will that be a further app update where either better UI to the app or like a feed filter, photo wall?
Yeah. The feed needs work. We're very aware of it, but there's obviously been a lot of other priorities on that front. So, yeah, I think a lot more of our integrated social features will come with the web platform, and as we start to build the VeVeVerse out, so that there is a messaging system or some form of communication. Or, we're going to need to send mail in the VeVeVerse.
I mean, we have stamps.
That we do.
We can send mail. We have stamps. And let's see. So last night, like we had the ability to have dinner with you guys, and it was awesome, and like just to be able to connect and like hang out and
drink water,
shoot it, drink a lot of water. When we were hanging out, Randy asked you, Rhys, he said, "What would make you leave Ecomi?" And you said it's not about the money. When you've given everything you could, and the project becomes too big even for you, what does that mean? Like, I guess, like, what's too big?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if there's it's not like I have a number in mind or a goal or something there. It's more, I'll be here until I feel like I can't contribute anything else, or that my growth journey is done, because I've got the rest of my life too, So, yeah, but at the moment, I mean, this is the most exciting thing I've ever been a part of. So it's not something I plan on leaving soon.
Happy to be a part of it.
Happy to be a part of it. I mean, like, look at this event, you know, all the fans showing up. I'm blown away by this.
And I'm gonna see if I can after this. I'm probably gonna see if I can get it on my phone. Like right now we're on a laptop, but I'm gonna see if I can also transfer it to my phone, and I'll walk around Decon and show you guys, because this is a monster event. Like I've been going to Comic Cons and different cons and anime cons for over a decade, but this is like 300,000 square foot, like 700 vendors, tons of people, like a line that was, I think it opened at 9, and the line was still going strong at like 10:30, 11, just for people to get in, and it's bonkers. So, and there are hardcore toy fans, brands here, so it's a good first live event for Ecomi Veve.
Oh, and you know, obviously we're dropping a lot of artists that people are aware of, but just as many have dropped by to see us and understand what we're doing and ask questions about NFTs and break into that market. So it's a very reciprocal relationship that's going on here, which is really exciting, you know. And from a marketing point of view, it's awesome to see VV branded everywhere. You know, it's on the back of the cards and it's in the booklet, and that's cool. Sure.
And one question I did see, so I actually stopped over at Ali Bamcat's booth, and like I got like a Pope, so it ties to like, you know, an NFT. And then I actually saw another collectible company where you scan it and it actually pulls up their collectibles in OpenSea. And I was like, well, and they're not doing so hot, but they're very new, right? Mm-hmm. But I was like, once Veve are actually able to have their collectibles in Immutable, in an OpenSea marketplace, in future events, would you guys do something like that, where then would kind of bring them into OpenSea and they could choose to buy them from like maybe us as collectors?
I think if it was us at an event, we'd be bringing people into Veve as opposed to into OpenSea. That would be the first port of entry. Then we can walk people down that education line. But in this kind of setting where people, you know, they're so used to physical collectibles and they're already a bit skeptical of the NFT industry, I truly just think that Veve is the cleanest and easiest onboarding option. And then people go and explore their own.
So next, or whenever that does become a thing, I just tape my QR code over that QR code to my OpenSea.
Exactly right.
Got it. Okay.
Copy paste, send to my profile.
So let's see. A lot more licensors coming. Would you say there are some in the next month or two that are on the same caliber or near Disney?
It depends what type of fan you are. I think for some people it will mean a lot more to them than what Disney does. Because the licenses we have at least planned to be announced in the next few months are different verticals and different avenues. So I think we'll see a lot of new faces, a lot of new fans.
We do have some new product categories, you know, coming up in the future too, next year. So you know, it'll be interesting too. It's not just about the IP, but the product itself. We just launched stamps. Stamps are, you know, totally out of the ordinary, but stuff like that, you know, it'll be really interesting.
And I'm trying to pay attention to super chats too. But I see one from Poor Man Printing.
Poor Man,
and
how you doing, sir?
I'm sure he's really excited about this.
Jeez.
But from Poor Man, he says, Rhys, any news on buybacks? And Randy's in the crowd.
No, I haven't had any updates. I know that we are finalizing our first year financials and still trying to navigate that regulatory landscape, because it does get quite sticky. But until David Yu gives me an update on that, I won't have much more.
Got it. Okay. And then, so I kind of touched on it earlier, but we're seeing a little bit more marketing with Rogers and Cohen. Like we saw with the Alcon article, which blew my mind. Like I immediately downloaded it and like went through it on the channel. I was so stoked. But again, I guess, is there a timeline on when we can actually see OMI marketing? And then like, what does that look like? Like, how do you market OMI, or do you like just kind of reach out to some of the Coin Market Bag and all the other ones that are doing things like that?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the OMI YouTube videos you've seen from influencers have come from us reaching out and touch points and things like that. And obviously once it's available in the app, we're directly marketing to the entire VV user base. You know? So that is going to be so much more targeted than putting OMI on a billboard or those kind of traditional advertising things. But honestly, I would love to be shilling our bags all day, every day. But until the token can be used, you know, until we have that verifiable utility, or at least until the OMI utility article comes out and people know what to expect, I just think it would be a wasted resource until we're at least on Immutable and can actually start to onboard people to the token. You know, and at that point, we get to build an economy around the token. You know, it's not just a gimmicky thing. It's we're trying to increase the velocity of this token. We're trying to increase the burn rate. We're trying to incentivize people to use the token for benefits in the app or to build their collection. So, yeah, once those features are available or close to being available, we'll push play on a few other things.
I mean, and that's kind of what I always think too. Is like, you guys are OMI holders, like, you know, you're invested too, so you want the same things we do, right? Because
of course we do.
I don't think, at least for most of the companies I know in crypto, like, it's usually like the central team, and then it isn't always like the people in marketing, the communication who are doing all the groundwork, who, like, they don't just get a ton of free of that crypto. So you guys are just invested in your own dollar too. So
absolutely,
you want staking, you want utility, like you want that to come, because it's going to obviously help you as an investor as well.
Yeah, and I mean, outside of Dan and Dave, I mean, nobody has worked for as long or as hard on this project as I have. You know, it's one of those things. So yeah, when people throw the OMI stuff at us, it's like, that's my number one priority. That is what I've worked for this entire time, and I've had to learn to be more patient too. You know, it has been part of the journey, and as soon as we can get it in there and get things functioning, we'll get it in there. Yeah.
All right, and so I'm curious, like, to put out this much content, like this much, this fast, and I mean the drops after like the first days, like you saw, like it was like the third party, and they've been pretty clean, right? So I guess my question is for you, you guys are a lean team in order to stay agile, but I guess how much is outsourced for content creation, and is this currently being done also for the building of the VeVeVerse, or is it just the actual content that we're seeing?
I think Trevor said yesterday that our art team now we probably use more than 5 or 6 studios. There's about 60 people in the VV art team, just full-time working on building these assets. Because they take 2-3 months to build for some of the complicated ones. And then there's a lot of back and forth with the licensors and approvals and all the bits. So yeah, the art team's huge. I think that's the plan with the VeVeVerse too. We'll outsource or acquire or whatever, and it's already underway. I just can't actually speak to it. But yeah, we're not naive to the fact that we don't have a big enough in-house development team to bring a project like that to fruition. So
got it. But it is cool to hear, kind of like, you know, it isn't just, you know, 25, 30, 35 people. It's a lot more than what's being seen, because it's being outsourced, being worked on, and you guys are leveraging what you can and having it become quicker, more available for us. So
exactly right.
That's good to know, because, you know, a lot of questions we get are like, well, why don't they add more headcount? But you guys are also very close to it. You have to re-educate people, you have to onboard them, you have to teach them. But if you're outsourcing to other companies where they already understand and you can trust their content, because, and I can't say obviously who, but like I'm sure they're pretty big companies that you're working with, right? Like they know NFTs, they know design. So that's good to know that they're also involved, right?
And a lot of them are some of the biggest game development outsourcing studios that work on AAA games like Call of Duty, you know, some of the biggest PlayStation exclusive, God of War, etc. All of those. So we have those, you know, people on board. Really, our in-house team is mainly just the people who work on the app itself. You know, so the drop experience, you know, the app features, all of that, that's our in-house team. But yeah, when it comes to content, we work very, very closely with these, you know, outsourcing partners to make it all happen. But yeah, I think the goal is in the future, you know, to have more of it be in-house, you know, as we scale and grow.
Yeah, I appreciate you touching on that piece. I wasn't sure like what I could say, but yeah, like the fact that you guys are actually leveraging AAA studios is like, everyone's always like, well, when gaming, it's like you need to really understand like what you guys are focused on and what wheelhouse you're focusing on, and then eventually go maybe that way. But the fact that you're actually leveraging that quality of studios for the content, it's better than what's 90% out there in NFTs, right? So
yeah, and these studios are choosing to work with us, right? They could be building game assets for other companies, but because this space is so exciting and all of that, they're throwing their weight behind us too, which is, it's just further validation.
Love it. And I'm keeping an eye on these super chats, so I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. I'm happy to be here with, it's been surreal to actually, like, again, meet the team, meet the OMI homies. Like, everyone's like, hey, Tabs. I'm like, oh, I know you. Like, this is really cool. I hope more of these events in live come in person, because this has been amazing. And like, I'm sure it'll be all over different countries and states, and everyone can actually like attend different things. I'm gonna try to go to them all, but and guys, hit the like button. Let the fam know we're here, that we're talking, we're having questions going. I've got more questions to go, but appreciate you guys showing up and supporting. Wish you guys were all here. Like,
Absolutely.
legitimately wish. I think there'll be a day where we have like hundreds of homies. Just like, I'm watching people like gather around in circles, like like
Yeah,
Trying.
exactly.
seeing some celebrate, some very angry.
This guy. I honestly think we'll see a day where we're running VeveCon, you know, and whether that's a metaverse experience or an in-person experience with the artists that we're bringing on or collaborating with, like, that's where I'd love to see the event space go for us.
Love it. And so David said, and I'm not sure if you can ask this. It's never a good question when it starts with David said, because he might be Ewing us, or it could just be
yeah.
But David said in the recent AMA that a brand we drink every day is coming. And so my question to both of you is, every day do you usually drink Coca-Cola or Starbucks?
Oh, that's a very good question. Very good question. I'm a water man myself.
Okay.
I like to stay hydrated. No.
Yeah, I mean, my main drink is water, of course, but yeah, I'm not a big cola person, but I actually do like Starbucks. I just tried their pumpkin spice cappuccino for the first time. It was pretty good. Yeah. So yeah. I know.
Both water guys. That was probably the right answer.
That's the most vanilla answer we could have given to that question.
He also said a new digital product is coming. So when you guys, and everyone's like, oh, well, it could be, this or that. And a lot of the answers or the thinking around it, they're usually something that could still be a collectible. So when there was a new digital product that came, it was the comics, which was completely different from collectibles. So when he says a new digital product, is it something that's completely different from collectibles and comics?
There's still collectible pieces, but it will be probably as big a change to the app and the experience as introducing comics was.
Is it usually shaped like a rectangle?
Actually, no, it'll change. Okay. Yeah, it could be anything. I had to think about that then.
I got to try and catch you when I can.
You've only given me one beer so far.
That's fair, yeah. Dang it, I should have got shots. Let's see, new digital product. So you guys are speaking about like mini games and how like the VeVeVerse will have something like that where you can like race DeLoreans against Ectos and at least some form of mini games. My question is though, will it only be, I guess, games or mini games or something in that format coming to the VeVeVerse, or will it actually also eventually come to the Veve app, where you don't have to interact in the VeVeVerse in order to play something that's a game?
I think there'll be a crossover of experiences. I think the more comprehensive gaming or any experience like that will be VeVeVerse. But we definitely want to maintain that portability of the app and keep that experience exciting for people. So, any experiences that we can build into the app like that, we will definitely go for.
Awesome. And again, shout out to everyone with the super chats. I appreciate you, Lori, Kyle. And Kyle, I have that question on here, so don't worry, I'll get to it. And Poor Man, I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Let's see. You guys want to be on?
Should we expose you?
We got Sparky, we got Wendy. All the OMI homies are here.
Yes.
Hopefully. Did you?
Are you drinking?
I love it. I've given away some collectibles during this. Sounds like Sparky and Wendy have too. Like, that's what's the added element is, like, there are people hungry at this booth, like curious, like, what is this? And then they get into it. I actually had someone from the Mighty Jacks booth come over. Like, hey, I heard if we get a Veve NFT of this, we get to pre-order the actual physical over there. And like, that was in the thing. But this was someone who had no idea what Veve was. Showed them, and they're like, oh, we're all about it. And like, we can buy it now? I was like, no. I was like, you can get it tomorrow at 4. And they're like, so we'll just pick it up. I was like, well, you're going to want to be faster than thousands and thousands of people. And like, you just want to jam the buy now button. And I was like, and I told them about Line Gate and like everything else. I was like, and hopefully you get it, but it's brutal. And that actually brings me to my next question, which I actually didn't have it written down, but I've seen, like, when I asked the community, like, what the questions were that they had. We got a DJ back here. They're hitting the grinds. So the question I had, and like, people keep asking about bots, and like, we know that when you look at Nike, when you look at Apple, like, they still have bots in their community, and they use some of the strongest strongest security measures that you can, and it's just going to happen, right? But do you know roughly how many users were going for Disney drops? Because if there's only, let's say, 6,000 editions, your chances if there are like over 100,000 people going for them.
There was easily over 100,000 people. Those first couple, and then it upped 30% and 30% again, I think, was it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think it ended up, I don't have the exacts, but by the last Disney drop, especially the Walt, 150,000, 200,000 people all going for that collectible. So, you know, bots and things aside, like, there is incredible demand for these collectibles. And I mean, I have not landed one all week. No Disney, no Decon, not a thing. Like, it's, you know, so, I mean, I understand the frustration, but like, we're in the team and we don't get these collectibles, you know. It's just, that's part of the game, right?
And so, I mean, when it comes to the bots, like you guys you keep adding measures and measures and measures just to make sure they're taken care of as best they can, right?
We have layer upon layer of firewalls and bot protections, and we're always implementing the newest and latest technology that we can. Obviously, we can kind of afford to upgrade those systems now as well. That's really all there is to it. You know, we have a team of data scientists that work with us now to try and crush this problem. So it's coming to an end.
Awesome. So let's see. So the drops are getting very, very difficult. Like, you struck out all week. I didn't get a single Disney drop, but I did get a few on Decon, so I'm stoked on that. But with how difficult it's getting, and it's only going to get worse, I guess the option is either increase additions or don't. And has there been any talk about maybe like a raffle drop system or a different type of drop system as more users keep flooding in?
Yeah, definitely. We've discussed a few different ways to not to level the playing field necessarily, but just to create more collectible experiences, different ways to collect, all of which have that, you know, end intention of giving people more chances to collect their favorite things. So yeah, we'll continue to build in new ways to collect on the platform, which will hopefully spread that load out. But ultimately, having more drops is our solution at the moment. We have so much content. The art team has been killing it. So, you know, there will come a time where people just don't go for everything. You know, unless
I'm right there right now.
Yeah.
I can't afford it.
Oh, that's it. You know, and that's how it has to be, right? And that's the intention is for people to celebrate their fandoms, and the more fandoms we bring in, hopefully the more spread out that becomes.
Yeah, and at the same time too, when it comes to increasing edition numbers, I think as we, you know, continue to grow and scale, if we have 2 million users at some point, you know, we'll definitely see more editions, but it's not going to be dramatically more. It's not going to be, you know, at the same level, just because we want to keep the level of scarcity, you know, the value of these collectibles. At the end of the day, they still are collectibles, you know, so we want to keep them as collector's items. Of course, there will be more drops like what we did with Spider-Man, where, you know, there's, you know, close to 100,000 editions for big things like that. But then again, there's like these artist drops we're doing this weekend, you know, where they really are for collectors. You know, a real collector for these, for example, they don't care if they don't get on the drop. You know, they'll pay whatever it is in the market because they really want these things. So, you know, there's a lot of different collectible types we'll do in the future like that. But, you know, and as Rhys said, we'll have more things in the future like lottery style drops, queues, etc. You know, to give more drop experiences for people.
That's super helpful to hear and like understand, especially because everyone always wonders like, well, Veve's been on a tear, right? Like Ecomi's been on a tear, like more and more users are flooding in. And I had actually someone reach out to me like, what happens if they plateau? Like what happens if it, and like, I can tell you firsthand, things like this is a differentiator, right? Like actually being live, because obviously, like you said, it was over 100K user or downloads have happened in a couple of days because of Disney. But as more and more awareness comes out, and then like this event, I've seen actual artists come up to the booth asking like, hey, how do we get on here? So that queue of licensors is only getting bigger. More artists are coming in. We still have multiple verticals that we've not yet seen since our OG AMA back in April.
Yeah,
dude, you know what's funny is I think I shared this with you, but I was terrified to reach out to you because I waited. I was like, I just hit 1,000 subs, and I was like, man, like I'm not a big YouTuber. Maybe he'll like tell me to kick rocks. And I reached out to you and I was like, hey, bro, would you want to hop on my channel and do an AMA? And you're like, yeah, of course. And I was like,
I'm on the other side thinking, you want to talk to me? He's like, sure, let's have it.
Well, I think everyone wants to talk to you now.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Come to Decon.
I mean, it's great because I've seen like Noah on channel, I've seen Alex on channels, I've seen Jeremy Padower on channels. Like, it's no longer just Dan and David and you, it's everyone. Like, they want the whole team in. So when you think about fandom, and like not even just fandom, but people who support a company, they're not usually reaching out to everyone on the marketing team to come on an interview. They're not reaching out to, like an advisor. They're reaching out to just the CEO and maybe like the CFO and the COO, and like that's it. But it's the whole team now who are involved. So when you think about like as an investor, that doesn't happen not only like with public companies, but it doesn't happen with crypto companies. So that's really exciting to see. And I'm happy to hear that there's just more thought going in and more, that you actually take some of the community feedback too. So, I know there's a lot of you in here, and I appreciate that. Hit that like button. I will be getting to some of the questions that you guys have been coming down to. So save your questions, and I will be getting to them, or super chat, and I'll make sure they get answered. So, Immutable X update.
I did just message Dan for an update on the minting. Same thing last week. We didn't want to.
You're like, I'm hopping on TapsTrades stream, and I know this is going to come up.
I'm like, can you give me an update on this? But look, we had fully intended to start the reminting process, at the start of last week. Obviously, as things came out with Disney, it was just like, let's not interrupt the system. So, I mean, I am personally expecting this to be done and dusted in the next week or two. But yeah, as soon as I have an update, I'll let you guys know. Because we'll need to update you on the market shutting down and those things anyway. So.
Well, we saw that Immutable X took Veve off of like the logo on the marketplace, right? And they said, they're like, no issue, like we're working on it. Like that looks like an indicator that coming soon, right? Like Absolutely. That's actually probably in testnet or something. But
yeah. All of those bits have been done, like they're ready to go as far as I know. It's just the actual process and doing that now. As a new protocol, like a lot of companies have launched or started on Immutable, but I think we're the first to migrate to Immutable, which is obviously a different process to get all of that metadata across as well, and then to reconnect it to all of our systems with a new chain. Like this isn't just a small change, and I think that people really forget that. Every single user in the app has an OMI wallet attached to their username that all has to be ported across, reconnected to your username along with your collectibles and all of those things. So this isn't a flick the switch and we're there kind of job, and that's why it's taken so long.
Got it. And then I saw that there's been some YouTubers talking about like worries on, like we've been waiting for a while for exchanges. And then Dan did say in the recent AMA that we don't have to wait to the end of phase 3 for exchanges. So obviously timelines are always a hard question, but will we see exchanges before the end of the year?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, if the minting happens in the next week or two, once the token swap opens, all the exchanges are going to swap your tokens to ERC20 anyway. From that point, the Ethereum smart contract for the OMI token is live. That means we can integrate into the other exchanges, and obviously we haven't just sat around twiddling our thumbs for the last couple of months. We've lined the exchanges up. So it will actually be more a matter of how quickly can we fit into their schedule to list the token.
I mean, we talk a lot about like licensors and artists who are reaching out to you guys. How many exchanges that have reached out to you guys? Because they want a big community, right? Like they want those things that are going to have high volume. Like Bit4X has made their weight because of OMI. Like I don't use Bit4X for anything else, but I guess like how much do other exchanges want you guys?
It's a very good question, and probably not one that I can give that much insight into.
I'm trying, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, people are, we're no longer in the shadows, right? People understand that we have the weight of Disney behind us now and Marvel. And I mean, if you're an exchange and there's a token linked to Disney, of course they're going to want you on the platform, right? So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But.
So they consider the fact that like how many brands and IP you have tied to the NFTs
and the community, right? We are bringing, by the end of this year, potentially 1 million users to this exchange, right? And most people don't see the behind the scenes of exchange listings and how they take place, but it's not like you just show up and they agree. They want to see that you will bring traffic and users, and a lot of smaller exchanges try to force you into guaranteeing that you will bring that much volume, or they'll delist you and things like that. So we're in a really great position now because we do come with such a good user base. So it gives us a nice position to negotiate from. But these exchanges are pretty cluey, and right. Anywhere there's traffic or volume, they want a piece of it.
Yeah, and I think the reason why us as like OMI investors, like we always ask about exchanges, because when you look at what happened when Uniswap was announced, the trading volume was over, I think, 100 million or whatever. Like, so the trading volume right now on OMI is a tenth of that, right? So when you announce like an exchange, like that's why I always ask about it too, or like I'm always curious, and like I think people really want them, is just because it's really hard to get, but we also know like a lot of the bigger NFT influencers, investors, like they want something that they can do in the palm of their hand, right? So like coming soon, but I appreciate you answering that question just because I had to come in ready to grill you a little bit, right? I always try.
It's an AMA, right?
Yeah, that's right. So with the Immutable move, I feel like this is like a no-duh question, but can we expect some bugs or some like glitchiness or issues when VeVe collectibles are listed in the Immutable marketplace? Because, you know, the confidence for Immutable X, which is a newer ecosystem, and it has massive projects on it, but for it to handle this high a demand, to handle all of us and how much it's transacting day in, day out?
Yeah, so Immutable uses a Validium rollup, which is slightly different to a ZK rollup, but it essentially means that all that throughput and transaction will happen off-chain, and then they commit the proofs to the base Ethereum layer, which is how exchanges work right now, right? If you're trading tokens on an exchange, that's not an on-chain transaction, right? That's happening off-chain, on their servers, wherever, and then they're committing the state back to the blockchain. So the Immutable rollup works in much the same way, and that's how you get the gasless transactions and the high throughput. And then with the ZK proofs, they commit to the base chain, which basically cements those transactions back into a block. Yeah, so there shouldn't be bugs or issues, but we'll find out.
Awesome, thank you. And shout out to Art Bouge, longtime subscriber. Appreciate it, bro, for the super chat. You guys, wish I could be there too. Best community ever. It's been amazing to just be able to meet everyone and hang out. Like, I love this. I wish you guys did this, like, well,
maybe not all the time.
I was gonna say I wish you did this every quarter, but
yeah,
not as many drops, I guess.
Yeah.
My wallet hurts.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Showroom version 2 was also talked about end of last week. Is that also coming end of this week?
I think the app update will come first,
okay,
and then we'll make sure that's all stable and good to go, and then the showroom should be the next big upgrade to that.
I think we had Showroom V2 ready to go to before Disney, but we wanted to do Disney and Decon first, make sure, you know, it didn't cause any issues with, you know, how much demand we're having and, you know, anything in the app. So now that that's done, you know, again, you know, all signs heading towards that for the next update, you know, but I think, like you said, next app update first, following week, probably Showroom V2.
And we have just welcomed a few more devs to the team. So at some point we may introduce them. But, you know, with the intention of hitting that ground running and rolling out all these updates.
I saw that you guys were hiring for like a UI position and then also an intern position. So you guys are actively scaling the team internally as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, and I can only stay awake for so many of them.
Awesome. Yeah. So I always think about the fact that you look at some of these showrooms and they're absolute arts of work. Like people drop like 33, 48 hours, 72 hours into just making it happen, right? Like in their app to make it look good. But we've known about like shelving and things coming. Will shelving only be coming in the VeVeVerse, or will it be coming in the Veve app? And I guess when does that look like?
Yeah, it should be coming to the app. But we'll need to pin Trevor down and have more of a conversation there.
Where is he?
He's not here today. Yeah, he should be back tomorrow. But you know, when we first started designing the accessories, we were building with different technology and different plans. And then we started realizing, you know, how many more customizations we could add and better ways to build so that the user experience was better. It didn't create too much server load, all of those things. So, no, I think accessories are absolutely planned for the app still. But I know you and I are both waiting for the web platform so I can actually build a showroom. You know,
My showroom's ugly.
that's someone asked for my Veve username before. I'll give it to you when I've built a showroom.
Yeah, mine's pretty sad. Like I have almost 300 collectibles, but for me to sit on my phone and like place, turn, all that with a mouse, I'll do it all day. Yeah.
So, and I mean, with the web platform with the next showroom version, we obviously get showroom version 2, the blank showrooms, so you don't have any walls and you can drop those things in, and new features for the show. You know, there's an undo redo button. I think we'll have batch moving as well, so you'll be able to move more things. I think that's coming. That might be the web platform, but there's other new features that will be added. We're not just doing yeah. So there's more stuff coming than just updating the lighting.
I can see Noah's the brains.
Noah's definitely the brains.
He's like confirmed, yeah.
Done.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the super chat, TaylorMade Brands. And DeLargo asks, when VV t-shirt box for VV content creators in Spanish? Hola.
That's a very good point. I need to improve my Spanish. Send me a message.
It's Veve.
Veve. It's Bebe, right? It's a B. Yeah. Just on the merch, I'm just going to give these guys a shout out. The Rhys Salon, they're a local salon who came and dropped us off these incredible hoodies and just the nicest message. We've been receiving these kind of things all weekend. So if you guys happen to be watching, I just want to extend my thanks to you. This was an incredible thing to receive. So
I actually brought my, I'll get it afterwards, but how big of a fanboy am I? Not just a creator and like here, but I brought my VV lamp in my bag, in my car.
Everyone else
so
has
that
a
way I can have
skateboard.
you guys sign it. So I want all your guys'
That's the plan?
signatures, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And then eventually, whenever there's another con with Dan and David, I'm gonna get their signature too.
Very cool.
Everyone, hopefully, I can have like all the signatures on there. So, let's see, VeVeVerse 2022. I guess like a month and a half ago, like Dan said, roughly, we'd see the first article or iteration or something coming out. You know, in I guess at that time it'd probably be like April or May, but 2022. I guess my question is like, how goes development on it?
We'll need to get more of a specific update on that. I think it's all been scoped. The development work has begun, and you know the first iteration, as we've said, is more of an extension of your current showroom. You know, it'll be a better design and all those things, but I won't say it's not going to be as hard because development work is always hard. But that first iteration shouldn't extend out the timeline. I would expect that, let's say mid-year.
And it's crazy because like obviously we haven't seen anything what it looks like yet, and so I was talking with Trevor and like I've seen like what he's built personally. I can't show it, but like it was beautiful and it wasn't like tied to VV, but like his abilities because of his experience are top notch. So when you think of a metaverse, like what's gonna come in and crush it, look to who the team is, right? And like Trevor knows his stuff. And by the way, he's like 6'6".
He is huge.
He didn't look 6'6" on like when he's been on things, and like I walked to, I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's the tallest human.
Yeah. And you know, just on the metaverse thing, obviously we have licensed and branded content, which is going to continue to set us apart. But those properties aren't going to let us release something crap, you know. Like, so the design, everything about it will be as premium as the app is now, and we will continue to build in those experiences and leverage their resources to do it. You know, it would be silly of us not to. And I'm sure that they will want just as strong a hand in the VeVeVerse as they do with the VV app. So.
Makes sense. Where was I? So, Master Collector Program will be considered for land grabs or something with land, like that's been said, right? So, my question is, you said that there would be like a first tier or something tied to Master Collector Program. Do we know, I guess, how big that first tier, like how many users that will be, and then how many parcels of land have you guys considered for how much land there will be?
So initially, we won't do a sort of land offering. We'll have that kind of everyone can join Metaverse. But I actually think that it will develop out almost like a real city does. You know, we'll have a land offering here, the first suburbs or neighborhoods established around VV City or whatever it happens to be. And as the demand grows and the user base grows and the partners grow, you know, we start opening up specific, you know, like a Marvel section or a Disney section, and then do land offerings around those experiences. So, you know, I think that it will evolve as the user base does, as opposed to, you know, we're generating 10,000 blocks of land and that's it forever.
You mentioned like Marvel and Disney, and obviously like the dream is to have like a Disneyland in our VeVeVerse. So my question is like, how much, I guess, say or involvement do licensors have in the VeVeVerse today?
I think it would be mostly preliminary at this point. You know, I'm sure that they have let us know their wish list and things or what they expect. We've obviously given them the vision over the last 2 or 3 years of planning for this metaverse. So, you know, I think that everybody's probably on the same page. It will be more finalizing all the finer details to make sure everything is on brand when we start kind of developing these things.
Got it. And so someone in the super chat asked, is Ecomi a security? Isn't the whole goal to not be a security?
The whole goal is to not be a security. OMI is a utility token, always has been, always will be. Very, very intentionally, because we couldn't run this business if it was considered a security.
Thank you for the super chat. Another person asked, Walt and Mickey are like up over 6K now.
Whoa,
Did you guys expect that?
I did.
It's a blue chip, right?
I did. Yeah, it's a blue chip. It's the first ever. It's the most iconic Disney piece that it could be. I mean, I think we're going to see the Walt up near Donnie's and Marvel #1. And
hold on, we're ending the stream so I can go buy one right now.
No, but I mean that is the thing, right? And Disney as a property has one of the biggest fan bases in the world. So as more of those fans assimilate into this experience, it's the same as any first appearance. It just happens to be solid gold in Walt and Disney. I mean, you can't beat that.
Us VV users like anything in gold.
Anything
gold is just like, yeah, that's worth more. 100%. I know gold.
That's it. Speaking of gold, apparently Matt Groening has been walking around here today.
What?
Yeah. Someone stopped by to let me know he was collecting Simpsons, variations of Simpsons memorabilia and things. So maybe we'll find him.
And his signature's on the bottom of the Homer and all that. Event. It's been talked about like doing digital signatures someday. How far out is that? Like, because obviously, like live events are the key, and like we would show up and actually get drops at the events. Like, you would fence it in, right?
Yeah, I think
like
so.
geofence.
Yeah.
But the actual capabilities for digital signature, is that in 2022 or?
We were trying to get it done for this event.
No way.
We didn't get there, So I think by the next event, it should be there. I think
Digital Six confirmed.
On the way. Yeah.
Where's Matt Groening? I need his real one. Dope.
You got it signed.
Nice. We've already got digital signatures. Well, you guys sign right now. I love it, guys. Let me show that on camera.
Can you guys see that?
Signed from Tristan Eaton himself. Yeah? Love it. Sick. The OMI homies are rampant here, man. They're stoked. They're living it. So do not miss a live event if you can. There's going to be more, of course, but we're excited. So we were talking about like Disneyland, the VeVeVerse. Disneyland CEO said Metaverse, their Metaverse, are stepping into the Metaverse, will include AR elements. They're talking about AR and Metaverse. Facebook's talking about Meta and like what they're stepping into. How does that compete with Veve? Like, does that bring a little bit of, I don't know, like competitive scare, like a little bit scariness to what you guys are building, or is it just going to kind of keep broadening out what you guys are doing and also with other licensors?
The biggest part of me wants to compete. I want to beat Facebook, and all those things. It's juvenile, but honestly, I think they're about to do the heavy lifting for us. They're about to spend billions of dollars educating the world about metaverses, and they've already announced their intentions to be very open as an interoperable world. So I actually hope all of the industry moves towards that, not just these private things. But yeah, I think Facebook's about to do all the work for us, and then we're the only ones with this branded content that people actually want, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think my personal opinion too is, there'll be different ideas of what the metaverse will be, whether it's one interconnected metaverse or whether it's, each company starts with their own. I think, we will head towards ideally something that, has VeVeVerse, for example, and then Facebook's and all these other ones, that they decide to do, and things are interoperable. I think that's, will be. Yeah,
sorry. We got some homies who are leaving, so they got to say bye. I appreciate that, man. And I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, but if Disney is stepping into Metaverse, love it. So if Disney is stepping in the Metaverse too, and if they're going to have their own NFTs and Metaverse and like do their own thing, they've created original content on Veve. So if they're stepping into the Metaverse, it would just make sense for them to keep capitalizing in how they're making money in the secondary on the NFTs they're bringing to Veve and bring them into their Metaverse.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Like if it's going to be interoperability, that's truly what you could potentially do.
Yeah, and plus, every licensor like Disney, like DC, Marvel, etc., they all want their IP in as many places as possible to make more money. So that's a big part of it too. I think stuff will continue to be on Veve no matter what Disney decides to do. We don't even know for sure if they're making their own. It's very vague at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see more information on what their plans are. But all of it's exciting. More metaverses that pop up. It helps everyone grow. The same as the NFT space.
And I can just see a comment there from Katie. I agree with you. I think Disney will continue to throw their weight behind us.
They've clearly picked, like, of all the all the NFT projects that Marvel could have chosen to, like, and obviously Marvel has some NFTs with some other projects, but they're like stickers, and they're like, hello, and we won't say who they are, but and like Disney, like, for them to actually bet on you guys, out of like, they could have gone with Dapper Labs, they could have gone with Engine, they could have gone with all of these projects that have been around establishing infrastructure and like really making NFTs a thing for a little bit longer than Veve. They could have gone to Decentraland. Like, they chose Veve. They chose a relationship with people that they trust for over decades, right? And they believe in what you guys are doing as a large company, as a large brand and IP. So that speaks volumes to what you guys have created.
I think that was people's fear. If anyone had the resources to do what we were doing and acquire the IP, it's Disney. But instead of doing it, they chose us. Right now, if that doesn't speak volumes as to what we're doing and what we're planning, I truly don't know what will. But
I love it. And let's see. So this is actually a question that I think I understand it, but I would rather hear from you guys, because I've been seeing like a couple users posting it and like getting all, I don't know if you know this, but some of the fam get a little bit, a little hypey, a little excited sometimes.
doesn't sound right.
But so they were asking, OMI is burning like crazy, right? But we're not seeing the circulating supply go down. So is it coming out of the burn wallet and the reserve wallet? And then what will happen with the circulating supply? Like how does our OMI become more scarce if the circulating supply is not dwindling?
Yeah. So with all the new OMI utilities, we're burning straight from circulating supply. So you're going to have two lanes. You're going to have mainstream users using gems and fiat, and in the background they're burning OMI, and we're reducing that supply. While OMI token holders have all these incentive mechanisms to use their tokens if they choose, which we will start, we'll start to burn a portion of those as well. So it's a double burn, essentially. We'll be burning from circulating and from the reserve. And once the buybacks are in, that links the sale of NFTs in the store to the reserve. And we should start to see a positive impact there too.
Awesome. And I mean, you guys built this up to be like a decade longer, but you had no idea the success was going to be here. So when I was looking at the numbers, how much OMI we're burning and then how much supply there is, I mean, obviously there's going to be like a bear market, but then also if the price is lower, more burns and there's more drops. Based on basic calculations, there could be half or only a third left of circulating supply in a couple years. And would that not create a supply shock?
That's kind of the intention.
Isn't that how crypto works?
Yeah.
So you guys set this up to be at least a decade, if not longer, but because of the instant success, we're looking at 2025 being like, I'll be like, hey, here's that Rolex I owe you for supporting, and let me invest in you guys.
Sounds great to me. But yeah, of course, that is the underlying mechanic of the system, right? We're selling a real world product underpinned by a token that becomes more scarce over time, regardless of whether you know about crypto or not, and that's why our tokenomic system, when fully in place, is the strongest model I've seen personally, and I've been in this space for a while. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you answering that. I've got two more questions. I know we're close to time, and I'm stealing Noah's computer, so I appreciate it, man. Clearly, Decon is a success. The homies love it. Like, we all showed up in groups, and we're loving it. How many live events does Veve have planned, I guess, into next year? And I touched on the digital signature. So I guess, like, how many events will we see? Like, and like, where will they be?
It's a very good question. Maybe we should rope Alex in for this one. But
Alex,
Do you know what intentions we have with the next cons and events?
Will it always be tied to cons?
With what cons?
Yeah.
I guess how many live events can we expect like next year? And will they always be tied to like Comic Cons, like designer con? Like I guess what type of events will we see?
Likely similar to this designer con. There is the possibility that we go to the international designer cons, and then there are obviously Comic Cons that will continue to have a bigger presence now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic. So San Diego will be in full force next year, as well as New York. We didn't go to New York this year just because Dan and David couldn't get out of New Zealand and Marvel pulled out. So we were going to do something, hand in hand with Marvel. I think there are some possibilities for other types of cons as well. In fact, some of those conversations are being had this weekend. So, it could be a cool thing to look forward to in the midterm.
If I cosplay at the next like Comic Con one, will you cosplay too?
It depends what you want me to cosplay as. Do you want me to cosplay as Traps Wellington?
Please.
I'm already cosplayed as him.
Yeah.
You guys not see this? It says TapsTrades, not Traps. We got the Spider-Man meme photo. Alex took it where we're like both pointing at each other. Like,
It's too good. But yeah, so that's good news, right? A lot of cons. There's actually so many more con events than I ever anticipated. There's Complex Con, Designer Con, all these other things, and they all offer something slightly different to a slightly different audience, but all content that can be digitized.
got it. Awesome. And I've got a couple last questions, and we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good.
So I've had a couple of people ask this, and I don't know if I fully understand it because I haven't had a chance to look at it because it's been a crazy weekend, but there's a lot of emphasis on Throg's tongue and like how animated it looks. I guess, is there going to be a day where potentially most of our collectibles will just turn on and be animated?
It depends on the collectible itself. So to be animated, we have to have built in an entire skeleton. There's a lot more development work in there, because you need an elbow to look like an elbow and things to move naturally. So it's not quite as simple as just animating everything all at once. The asset, if it wasn't developed that way, it originally would have to be redeveloped basically from scratch. So yeah, it is quite a complex process to animate any collectible. So to retroactively activate all of them, I think would.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it is up to the licensor as well if that's how they want to portray their content. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine they'd be cool with you animating it, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they sell better, right?
Yeah, and look, obviously, like with Marvel, they dipped the toe with Spider-Man, and now there's been a lot of those animated releases. So other brands are obviously watching that as well, and will start asking for more features so that their content is more prominent, because that's why they're on the platform. And
a question that I've had from a couple of people too is, there's a big emphasis on these Marvel Mighties, right? And like we've seen in, I don't know if it was like a past game or something like that, where they had something that looked like Mighties tied to some kind of game. I guess my question is that a big push for Marvel to do the Marvel Mighties? And then have they said, I guess, why they're so focused on the Mighties versus like bringing us an actual Thor first or anything like that?
Yeah, I think the Mighties is a new series, is it not?
Yeah, the Mighties is a brand new series to Veve, so create exclusively for Veve, all these different Marvel characters. I think because it's a new thing, they want to make use of it, right? Sorry I got interrupted, but yeah, I mean, basically Marvel wants to use the new series, and there's so many characters they can do with it. I think the characters are, cute. It's kind of a family-friendly series, so I think that's why we're seeing a lot of them. Doesn't mean it'll necessarily go on forever. There might be new series that come too, but as you see, we're doing digital normal statues and comics as well, and potentially more stuff too with them. So yeah,
I think the reason they're leaning into the Mighties so much, I think we'll see it as a TV series, or they'll start merchandising those characters elsewhere as well, which is why they're making such a push for people to be aware of them on Veve from the start.
No, that makes sense. And
sure, hang on. We're gonna do this.
We got shots.
Salud.
Where were these earlier? He would have given me so much more information.
A la familia.
Thank you guys. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
For you too, Noah. You're not out of this. Is this Kool-Aid? Is this Veve Kool-Aid?
Oh, that's the best apple juice I've ever had. Delicious.
Delicious. Love it. All right. we're at time. I'm gonna have one more question. You teased me in our first AMA in April.
I don't remember that.
I'm not sure if you saw that I have a giant Buster Sword from Final Fantasy. You said that there's going to be an anime vertical. I guess my question is, are you waiting to localization for that? And then how have those conversations gone? Because anime companies are some of the most notoriously difficult to get. Like, I've had those conversations with Tom Bilyeu on my channel, like, and he's like, it's a nightmare, like, to get these, right? And like, it's very, very hard to work with these companies, but David Yu's been working with them for decades.
Exactly.
So my question is, when anime, and how has the progress been, and is it tied to localization?
I can't confirm one way or another, but logically, I think that makes the most sense. Right?
We need another shot.
But, you know, I think localization should come before we roll that out. And as you just mentioned, they're notoriously hard to work with. The licensing can be so layered that, you know, even though the same anime show or series might be available in different countries, a different licensor would control that IP in those regions or those countries. So, you know, the bigger they get, you might end up dealing with 5 or 6 licensors to be able to provide that content around the world, which makes it a lot more difficult. It's also different communicating and dealing with, say, a Japanese licensor compared to a US licensor, and the way you actually interact with them is different, and the formalities are different, and the time scale is different. So, you know, when these deals are on the table, we're very respectful to be conscious of that and let them play out the way they're meant to. And as you guys know, I mean, a lot of these deals are in the works for 18 months before we announce them or before the content is ready. So yeah, as to when we'll see it, who knows? But you know, it's in the works.
Would you say it's safe to assume that the best is yet to come?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I kind of just teed you up there, but
You did. But I would, you know. And I mean, even with Disney, right? We've just started with Disney, and we have access to their whole library of content, every one of their IPs underneath, and all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, from them alone, there's stuff to come. But in terms of new licensors, new products, new verticals, I mean, we're just getting started.
Love it. Well, I've definitely gone over in time, and I wanted to show everyone Decon, but it's winding down, so I'll be doing it on TikTok or something tomorrow, and maybe I'll stream again, just live walking around and just talking to you guys. But it's been awesome to like just meet you guys and hang out with you. Like, we got dinner last night, and like, it's so weird. Like, our lives are just so encompassed, like it's in the computer. And like, I've seen you guys and Alex and like Trevor for so long, like listening to your every word as not just like a content creator, but as an investor, as a fan, and like just everything you guys do. You have hundreds of thousands of people who are just hungry, right? And like that crew is only growing every single day. So
and becoming stronger, you know. And
and from the bottom of my heart, from all of you guys, like everyone who's here, we're just gonna be more thankful for what you guys do, and like we support you. We love Veve. I put more money into this. I'm a very cheap person than I ever thought I ever would for not JPEGs, but digital NFT collectibles. So really, really thankful, guys. Thanks to everyone who hopped in, for supporting the channel, for supporting the team. This has been kind of like a goal realization to be able to like meet you guys in person. So absolutely. I appreciate you guys. And thanks so much for hopping on.
Oh, man, I want to send the same love straight back to you and to community, everybody that's here, everybody tuned in. I mean, you're the reason we're here, guys, you know, and you watch everything that we do. I watch all of the videos and everything. So this has been just as big a trip for me to meet everybody and put a face to it.
Do you watch some of our speculation? You're like, how did they call that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
How did Taps guess Pokemon? Just kidding. Edit that out. Oh, we're live. Dang it. I guess I can't.
You get these things.
Yeah, but thanks so much, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Decon, we've got 6 more drops tomorrow.
6 more drops tomorrow. Starting. Is that tomorrow? Starting at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
9, 10, 12, 1, 3, and 4. So yeah, good luck. I wish you all the best this time around. Because
it's kicking up now.
Yeah.
They're playing us out. We're going to get some food. Hopefully there's some karaoke in our future or something later on.
Yeah,
Randy Chavez is all about
Randy's on it.
I'm going to try to sing some Mulan. So, hey, shout out to everyone. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. take notes, do videos on everything we just heard from Rhys Leak. Love you guys. Cheers, OMI homies.
Thanks, team.